Hi, I'm Jamie Agostino, and this is Financial Minds Meet the Experts. On this show, we're joined by financial industry experts to talk about topics, trends, and themes that credit union professionals need to know about. Today on Financial Minds Meet the Experts, we are talking to Carrie Hunt, President CEO of the Virginia Credit Union League. Carrie, thank you so much for joining me. Would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself with our listeners?
Sure. So I have been in the credit union industry for well over 17 years now and have been a credit union member since I was very small. So I am a credit union believer. I think credit unions absolutely provide the best in financial services for the average consumer. And my ultimate goal in my career is to make sure that every American has access to a credit union. We're working towards that.
Great, wonderful. Thank you. So, what challenges are credit unions facing there in Virginia?
I think that Virginia has some amazing credit unions. We have small credit unions, we have large credit unions, and we have credit unions with all sorts of different types of fields of membership. But all of those credit unions operate in a very tough environment, and there are a lot of issues that credit unions have to constantly navigate. First and foremost, one of the things that I noticed when I became the league president was, just how active the bankers are here in Virginia. And we really need to constantly message everything that credit unions do for their members and the community. Credit unions, though, of course, are businesses, and we need to make sure we have the absolute best environment from a business perspective for credit unions to thrive and to operate. And for many credit unions, economies of scale is an issue, making sure that they have the products and services in place so that their members choose their credit union is incredibly important. And the league partners with our members to try to provide that best environment.
Wonderful. How is the league then helping the Virginia credit unions overcome some of these obstacles?
You know, we have a three-part strategy at the league, and we want to provide the best in advocacy. So we work the legal environment to try to create the best rules, regulations, laws in place so that credit unions can operate as freely as possible. And we also really believe in supporting business forward solutions. In the past decade, credit unions need to develop digital platforms in order to provide those services the way that their members need and want. That's just one example that you constantly need to be evolving and looking at your offerings. So business solutions is incredibly important. And also, we strongly, strongly support collaboration. I truly do believe that we are stronger together. The credit union industry is a collaborative industry, and the league provides those opportunities so that like-minded people can get together, share ideas, and ultimately make the industry stronger. So we focus on those three areas, and within those three buckets, we provide a lot of opportunities. We've been focusing on providing additional networking, in particular for some of our emerging professionals. We've been really focused on advocacy forward and engaging with all of those stakeholders, and we are really engaged in trying to make sure that we're partnering with entities that help credit unions do what they do best. And I'm incredibly excited about that. And there's a lot of work to be done, but we have a great engaged team, and we're boots on the ground.
All right. What other issues are you trying to address, specifically with policymakers?
That's a really, really big question because I think we're addressing things on every single front. But let me start with a few big ones. And let's start with the state level. We have a new governor who was elected this year, and certainly there's a different atmosphere here in Virginia than there was previously. Governor Youngkin is certainly very business forward, and to date has not been specifically focused on credit union issues, but is in support of business friendly environments. So I think that we will certainly look to work within that. In Virginia, though, in terms of the state legislature, we were able to pass legislation this year to give state charter credit unions some additional parity for as compared to federal credit unions, and I think that's incredibly positive. But I think we have a lot of work still to be done on the state level. I think that the state charter in Virginia could stand with some additional modernization, and I certainly think you'll see some focus from us there into the future. Now, the federal side is a much, much bigger bucket. And there's a lot going on there as well. And I think for our members, mostly a lot of their potential pain points are going to come from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The CFPB has started down a road of looking at all fees. It is really trying to regulate via press release, as opposed to having a more formal process for regulatory actions. And I certainly think that we're going to see, as a result of that, some additional litigation risk. So from a credit union perspective, part of the biggest challenge is just weeding through all of this information and news that comes in. And the league is a big part of trying to help distill that down for our members, so we can get them to weigh in on issues that are just, the ones that are incredibly important. I also think, though, there's great opportunity as well on the regulatory side to continue to chip away at some of these regulations. And we can't do what we do without the input from our members. And I'll also say, on the big, national stage too, of course, the economy is always number one that everyone is looking at. And we certainly have a ways to go relative to stemming inflation and looking at some of these bigger economic factors. So certainly I think credit union is well positioned, but we're not out of the woods yet in terms of making sure that we have a stable environment.
All right. You have officially been with the league for over a year now.
Yes.
What's your vision for the Virginia Credit Union League?
My overarching vision is for us to be the best trade association for Virginia credit unions. And as I mentioned earlier, that really is focusing on those three things. But ultimately, my in terms of my day-to-day and what I want for the league, and is for the credit unions and the league to have just a constant dialogue and have that engagement, so that we have our marching orders to help credit unions do what they do best. And I really think that encompasses everything that we do: being responsive, being proactive, just that constant engagement. And I really want credit unions to think of us as an extension of themselves. And I wake up every single morning excited to go to work and serve our members. And I think the rest of the VACUL team does as well.
Wonderful. Any final thoughts or comments for our listeners?
I'm going to end on collaboration again. And I really do think we are a stronger industry as we work together. And I think there's a lot that we can achieve when you look at the past decade and some of those changes to regulatory burden, some of how credit unions can continue to operate and grow. I think those are incredibly positive. Relative to some of those pain points, though, whether it be economies of scale, helping small credit unions survive, really do need to put our heads together and make sure that we're providing those answers as well. I'm incredibly positive about credit unions in our future, but we also have a lot of work to do as well.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. Collaboration. That's what we were founded on. Let's, get back to our grassroots kind of effort and make sure we're all working together. So thank you for joining me so much. I really appreciate it, Carrie, and for you taking the time. I know you're very busy, so I appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. And if you're a leader at a credit union who is looking to build upon your leadership skills and make your institution a place of true servant leadership, then Viso Financial's 2022 Leadership Workshop is the place for you. Join Viso Financial's Chief Culture Officer, Joe Pertato, and your peers for these workshops to learn more about leveraging employee strengths, embracing servant leadership, building an engaged workforce, and more. The workshop will be highly interactive, so all attendees can put their new leadership skills to the test. Our next workshop will be held in Columbia, Maryland on September 22nd. For more details about Viso Financial's Leadership Workshop, visit www.vfccu.org. As always, thanks for listening and make it a great day.